Sports Talk. Let's go. Good morning. What's up, everyone? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, and I'm back this week. I was off last week. I was dealing with the flu. Not back at 100% yet today, but I'm well enough to be back here for you guys today. Because why? Today is the final weekend here in the National Football League, and of course, Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday Wake Up. We got you covered today for Super Bowl 58. But amongst that, we got some other things we want to talk about this morning. I want to break down the NFL honors winners and the recipients of the awards over the last couple of days. And then Mike Zimmer was hired by the Dallas Cowboys as the new defensive coordinator, replacing Dan Quinn. I want to give you my thoughts on that. And then also want to dive into the Cowboys and more particularly to Demarcus Lawrence's remarks that he made earlier this week on First Take with Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp. And among other things, talk about the foolishness, the foolery that's going on with Micah Parsons and his show and just the Cowboys in general. I'll sign off about that. And of course, I have to break down the big game for today between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. And I'll give you guys my clutch pick of the week, the final one for the season. So you guys don't want to miss out. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, Ryan Flowers. You know what to do. Let's go. Welcome in, everybody. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing all right. If you're watching live right now, make sure you guys drop a comment right now. Let me know what's up, how you guys doing. This is the final weekend here in the National Football League. Now, it doesn't mean, we just hibernate after today's game. Now, we're going to keep the show rolling as much as possible. We still got a lot of stuff to get through. We're going to have the draft upcoming. We got NFL free agency. We got the schedules coming out here in the next couple months or so. So although the season does end today, the grind does not stop. So make sure you guys check me out right here on YouTube if you're watching, and head over to my other social media platforms that you can see down below. And also head on over to the Grid Network, where we offer a plethora of other great sports content creators that are doing their thing, as well as the Grid Network website, where we also have news articles being posted, or not news articles, but articles, journalistic articles that are being posted about various sports and sporting events throughout the sports world. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that. But other than that, man, listen, sorry I was out last week, man. I mean, literally, I was out. I could not physically even get up to do a show. I was laid up, just out, had the flu. I still kind of getting over just a little bit, but I was like, you know what? I got to do it because this is the last not regular season, but this is the last game of the year. And of course, it's the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl is here in my hometown. I'm a little bummed out because I did have tickets to go to the NFL experience, but I couldn't go because I was sick. But my son was able to go. He had a great time. And I know a lot of people here are enjoying it. I drove by the stadium yesterday. It looks good. Looks good. You know, they got all the pageantry, everything's out. The traffic is not so great, but definitely in it. Got to see the Chiefs practice, or on their way to their practice, because they're practicing right down the street from where the Raiders practice at, and I live like a couple minutes away from there, so I got to see their charter buses and the jets that are flying in. I live by an executive airport, so it's like, I don't know, 20, 30 private jets that are already lined up, parked. You can tell something's going on here in Las Vegas. So it is exciting. I will say that, man. So we already got some good mornings here. We got Patrick Brown says, good morning. Happy Super Bowl Sunday, watching my favorite NFL Sunday morning show and having a liter of alkaline water. Hey, Patrick, man, shout out to you, bro. Hey, if you guys head over to the Grid Network website, he's doing his thing with his articles, man. I got to read the last one last night when I was going to bed. Phenomenal work on that one, man. So make sure you guys go check his stuff out. Good morning, Tyler, man. How you doing? He says, yo. All right. Appreciate it. So, but yeah, man, the Super Bowl, I'll say this before I get into the show. Excuse me. Las Vegas probably is one of the best places to have a Super Bowl. Now, if you're not really into it, and it does come with a lot of baggage if you're a local that lives here, because of the traffic and things like that. But I'm used to that. It's okay. I can live with it. But if you think about it, it really has all the hotels. It has all of the luxuries and amenities that someone who's coming from out of town would ever want or need. So hopefully they do a good job here, the people that are hosting it. And I would imagine it'll be back here sooner than later. I think it should be one of the more staple locations, kind of like how they do it in Glendale, Arizona. But we'll have to wait and see. But we'll see. Hopefully in the game will be good. So nonetheless, that's it, man. Let's talk about the NFL honors. So I got the list here. Let me pull that up. Just pulling it up over here on my screen here. So I mean, listen, I'm gonna run through the list, right? And I'll let you guys know my thoughts on some of these guys, right? So obviously, most valuable player Lamar Jackson. I think we all kind of knew he was going to win that after they dismantled the 49ers late in the year. You know, statistically, was he the best quarterback statistically? No, he wasn't, of course. You know, but what he did to those teams that won him the MVP. Now, I'll circle back to him. Okay, offensive player of the year. You know, Christian McCaffrey. I, without not giving him the MVP, this is probably the next best award for him. So I don't really have any qualms about that. Defensive player of the year. You know, this one is always a tricky one because there's a couple guys that do certain things that do, and they do it very well. And now Myles Garrett did get the award. T.J. Watt. I know he's been in the news a little bit because of what Micah Parsons had to say on a radio show during Radio Row this week. But I'm not mad that Myles Garrett got it because he's really good. Like if TJ Watt would have got it, I would have been like, okay, that's cool too. Like, so to me, they're like 1A, 1B, or whatever the case you want to call it. So I'm not too mad about that. Do I think Micah should have got it? No, because Micah, he doesn't play well the last 5 or 6 games at the end of the year. Now, statistically, and everyone goes back to stats, and I get it. Stats are things that we can see, they're tangible, but sometimes the stats don't really tell or depict the whole thing, right? So, you know, but like I said, I think does Myles Garrett deserve it? Yeah, I think it was. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this was his first one. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. That's what I kind of heard or something like that. But if it is, man, that's crazy. And if it isn't, I mean, he's one of our better defensive players. And you know, I know Cowboys fans are like, well, what about Deron Bland? Deron Bland really isn't that dominant. Like, we're talking about dominant guys, and Myles Garrett is a force. You have teams that are game planning for guys like Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. I don't think most teams are going to go into their offensive scheme and think about, you know, when they're playing the Cowboys, we got a game plan against Deron Bland. No offense. I'm just being honest with you. So, offensive rookie of the year, no brainer to me. CJ Stroud. Um, Phenomenal year, phenomenal season. And then his counterpart, his teammate, Will Anderson Jr. got the defensive rookie of the year. Excuse me. this guy was definitely a factor too. So no qualms there. Coach of the year, Kevin Stefanski. I kind of thought maybe D'Amico Ryan should have got that. I mean, listen, he came in first year, rookie head coach. Team was 3-13 last year. Comes in, they make the playoffs, they win the division. How was that not worthy of not coach of the year? And I'm not to say Kevin Stefanski isn't a great coach. I think he is a good coach, but come on. I mean, considering they didn't really have a quarterback, Joe Flacco, they kind of lucked into Joe Flacco, who won the next award, comeback player of the year. But I don't know. I think D'Amico Ryan probably should have got the nod in this one, but it is what it is. I mean, you're literally counting hairs at this point. And then comeback player of the year, who I call this over a month ago, it should have went to him. Now, oh, well, Damar Hamlin, I get it, but Damar Hamlin don't even play. Okay, he sparingly gets in on special teams. The award is not for guys that die and come back. It's comeback player. And I go, well, he did die and he came back and play. Yeah, but Joe Flacco was literally on the couch somewhere, not doing a damn thing, and he comes in and he's throwing for what 300-yard games consecutively. Like, come on, like that's comeback player of the year type of material. So, it's not that I'm not sympathetic to Damar Hamlin's situation, but I'm glad that the league is staying away from this woke type of thing and actually awarding the award to someone that actually really deserves it. So, you know, my blessings go to Damar Hamlin, and I'm glad that he's alive. I mean, that's great. You know, what he had to undertake was a huge ordeal, but it really doesn't need to be celebrated like that. And plus, We already celebrated him last year. So I think we can move off from this DeMar Hamlin thing. I think the Bills are ready to probably move off of this thing too. There was no way they were going to cut him a year after him being having to be resuscitated on the field. So I would not be surprised if DeMar Hamlin is not even in the National Football League or on someone's roster next year. I'm just being honest with you. I mean, it's simply putting that, but Joe Flacco deserved the award. So, but let me go back over to excuse me, Lamar Jackson and the MVP. Did he deserve the award? I mean, he is the most valuable player on that team, for sure. I mean, and a lot of the other guys that we who were in the running, like Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, at one point Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey. Those are the guys in my mind that were kind of like in the running. Now, I listen to a lot of people talk about, well, Lamar and he deserved it. I was like, I don't know if he deserved it, but he down the stretch, the reason why he won those games is because their record against playoff type of caliber teams and what they did to them. Now, if the postseason included this award or was part of it, then I don't know if he would have won it because he didn't get the job done. And I'm not here to bash him. It is what it is. But like I said in the beginning of the season, many months ago, if you go back to my TikToks and you look at what I said about him when he got his money, and I was being fair. And some people are crushing the guy. I said he's got to at least get to a conference championship or at least a Super Bowl. Now, he got to the conference championship, and I won't say he played terrible. He didn't play terrible, but he didn't play good enough to win that game, right? So, but I'm not going to bash him. It is what it is. He is who he is at the end of the day. He's a mobile quarterback, not a regular quarterback. And he tried to do that against one of the best traditional quarterbacks, and he lost at the end of the day. So it's not surprising that he'll win awards like this because like society dictates, it's we like the flashy, quick things, right? And that's exactly what Lamar Jackson is. He's a lot of flash. I'm not gonna say he's a lot of fluff. I think he is talented to a certain extent, for sure, right? His ability to run the football, which is so weird that they got away from that in their playoff game, is what makes him him. Okay, he is not gonna sit back there and throw darts. He's not gonna dot guys. That's just not who he is at the end of the day. So, congratulations to him. I think I really think that this is it for him. Will he maybe ever get to a Super Bowl? He might. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But the teams, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to say that, what the Chiefs are doing, what the Patriots are doing. Like, that's not ordinary type of stuff, man. And he had a great this was probably his best opportunity this year. Okay. Because I best believe it. Kansas City is looking at this year, and let's just say they win this game later on today, and we'll talk about that later. But if they figure out to win this game, Patrick Mahomes is probably going to be like, you know what? All right, maybe I'll do a Tom Brady. I'll restructure my deals. We got to get some more talent in here. And as long as they stay healthy, man, I'm not going to say Kansas City is going to go on this 20-year run, but they're damn near doing it right now. It's a little mini one. Okay, so but I digress on that. I'll leave it as it is. But Lamar Jackson, he won the award. Good for him. But what does that mean? Because me at this point, as I'm kind of like I'm a reservist Cowboys fan at this point, so I'm not fully all the way into them. But I don't care about regular season stuff no more. I want to see the big game wins. That's what I want. I want Super Bowls. That's all I want. And if you're Ravens fans, you're waking up today and you're like, damn, we should have been in this game today. We absolutely should have been in it, but we're not. So it is what it is. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about Mike Zimmer. In the news this week, obviously, being hired by the Dallas Cowboys to replace Dan Quinn. Now, we know that the last couple seasons, the Cowboys have been holding on to Dan Quinn, right? But if he was offered a job, he would take it. And he ended up going to the Commanders, which is I don't know. I'm kind of like, it might be a good fit for them. I ain't gonna lie. I do like the Cliff Kingsbury type of pickup too, because it's good for them, right? And the whole Eric Bieniemy thing, I won't even talk about that because I don't think Eric Bieniemy is that great of a coach. I think that's why he's getting overlooked. But anyway, let's talk about Mike Zimmer. So he gets hired. He replaces Dan Quinn. Now, if we go back to his history, Mike Zimmer, Zimmer has had really elite defenses. In his tenure in Minnesota, I believe his defenses were in the top 10 almost periodically every year, right? Now he's been out of the league for 2 years, which you can look at it two ways, right? Maybe he had an opportunity to take a step back um, and reevaluate his own schemes, things of that nature. One thing I will say about Mike Zimmer, he is a hard ass, and he will get in these dudes' asses, and that's exactly what the Cowboys need. The Cowboys are filled with talented players that are just soft. They're just soft, right? For Micah, Marcus Lawrence, and I'm gonna talk about his ass in just a second. But maybe, just maybe, Mike Zim could get to reach some of these fools. And I don't know. I tell you what, Dan Quinn is not as fiery as Mike Zim. I don't think he is. And he's got a history in Dallas, so that could bode well for him. The good thing about it, even though he did step away for 2 years or so, he's not coming back as a head coach. He's just coming back as a defensive coordinator. Right. And there are pieces on this team that they need to reconfigure. Obviously, it starts up front. I've been saying it for years, and Cowboys fans are killing me when I told them that Mozzie Smith was going to be a bust. I told them that this guy, really, I don't know, man. I don't know. You got to stop the run. And that's the Dallas Cowboys Achilles heel. Dan Quinn, he uses DBs as linebackers, very cutesy, artsy type of stuff, and it can be effective when you're pass rushing, right? But when you're playing physical teams or teams that want to run the ball down your throat, it doesn't work. When you have a 215-pound linebacker who's really a safety, right? It doesn't make sense. Okay, Mike Zimmerman, or I keep calling him Zimmer. Mike Zimmer, excuse me, will probably bring in and just be a little bit more basic, right? Traditional players playing for traditional positions. So if I had to grade the pick, I mean, I would say like a B. A B. I mean, I think there's guys there. I think they just have to draft better on the defensive side. That's what it boils down to, right? Corners, okay, pretty decent corners, right? Got no linebackers whatsoever, and your interior sucks. Your interior sucks. So hopefully Zimmer. I don't want. I want to keep calling this guy Zimmer. I'm thinking about a movie, Zimmerman. But anyway, Mike Zimmer. If Zim comes in, he can kind of get Jared. Hey man, I need these kind of guys. Then I'm okay with that. I know Rex Ryan was in the mix. Marquand Manuel. That was just a Rooney Rule, if I'm being honest with you, because I looked at the list and I was like, Rex Ryan, Mike Zimmer. Who else was in the interviewing? Who they were going to interview, or they did interview? I forgot. It was one other. Ron Rivera. And then you see Marquand Manuel. That's a Rooney Rule. There's no way in hell Marquand Manuel was going to get this job. Or Al Harris. Let's be real. Now, so we'll see. But is it a good pickup? Yeah, I guess. I mean, it really falls into the Jerry Jones's dichotomy of like, that's a name, guys. He won us a Super Bowl back in '95, and we had top defenses back then. It's like living in the past. So, will I be surprised if it doesn't work out? No, because I'm not surprised with anything the Cowboys do at this point anymore. So, but Cowboys Nation, those that are still left, which is there's a couple of you guys there out there, so that are still believing this pipe dream. But I'll give the grade a B. I mean, I think he does offer something. I think he does offer some toughness that they're missing there. And not fake toughness. I'm talking about real legitimate toughness. If you go back and listen to conversations that Mike Zim has had with players, if you go back to the Hard Knocks days when he was the DC in Cincinnati, he got in those guys' asses. And these overpaid, high-priced athletes that the Cowboys have, they need that, especially on defense. So I like the pick overall. I think it's a good pickup for him. I don't think they would have went wrong with Rex Ryan too, honestly, if I'm not mistaken. So Rex Ryan would have been a good pickup too, because he's another kind of like guy like chewing you out. And I don't think DQ was that kind of guy. I don't think he was really chewing guys out like that, which the Cowboys need. So all right, moving along. Talking about Cowboys and accountability, Demarcus Lawrence was on First Take earlier this week. And when asked what happened in the playoff game? And he came out and flat out said, "Oh, we were burnt out. It's a long season." Excuse me. That's why I can't get with these fools, man. You your first playoff game, and y'all fools are burnt out. How? How? And the fact that he had the gall to get up on live TV and say that type of rhetoric, it just shows you proof that this team is mentally soft. Mentally soft. And if you can't get that through your thick skull, Cowboys fans, I don't know what else to tell you, because this is what you're going to expect next year and the year after that. Oh, well, D-Law is so important. Man, get rid of his ass. You're not even winning with him. If that's the mentality, right? Because then, like literally later on, Stephon Gilmore was interviewed, and he heard the remarks that D-Law said, and he was kind of like burnt out. And mind you, Stephon Gilmore has won Super Bowls, been in big games. The mindset is different, right? You're burnt out. Yes, of course, I get it. You're burnt out. It's a long season. These guys playing a lot of games. But, dude, you can't – you got to get up for that game, man. You can tell from the beginning of that game that the Cowboys came out flat. They were not prepared. And that has to do with the coach, too, and why he's still there. Okay? Nothing is going to change for these fools, right? So, for me, Demarcus Lawrence – and he's the elder statesman on this club. He's like literally he was drafted in 2013, 2014, if I'm not mistaken. He's the veteran of vets on this club. And this is the type of shit that he's saying. He's supposed to be a quote unquote leader on your team. That's the problem. There are no leaders on this team. Usually should be a quarterback. The quarterback is a little too quiet for me, right? He shows no fire. You got idiots like this, right? You got Micah Parsons, right? Who he needs to change. They need to take his Micah away from him because he's ridiculous, right? The stuff that he's saying. The problem with this team is not skill. It's not the skill of this team. It's the will of this team. And they have no will. No will. Do you think the Cowboys would have done what the Chiefs have done just to get to the Super Bowl? Having to play arguably the top offenses in the National Football League. Two of them you had to go on the road. No, that's not happening. Why? Because they don't have that will. They don't have that heart. They don't have that conviction, bro. They don't have it, and they won't have it because it starts with the top down. Jerry Jones, I just come to this conclusion that he does not care about winning. All he cares about is that you guys go into Jerry World, you spend $100 on a large pizza, you spend $30 on a Bud Light. You make the trip down there. You buy jerseys. You buy merchandise. You take the tour. That's what he cares about. That's all he cares about. He is a businessman at the end of the day. He don't care if he wins again. Because if he did, the last 30 years, they would have done something. You've had teams that did not even exist the last time the Dallas Cowboys were playing in a meaningful football game in the playoffs. Just think about that. And you got guys like Demarcus Lawrence who are, like I said, veterans on this team who don't give a shit either. So this is what you got. And you got Micah Parsons. Don't get me started on his sorry ass. Oh, Micah Parsons is legit. No, he's not. He talks too damn much. He thinks he knows a lot, right? And this is my problem now with the new world media. And these guys are having podcasts. Like, for what, bro? Like, I can get with the Kelsey brothers because they're winners. Micah Parsons gets clicks because he's an idiot. That's why. And we tune into that. People tune into that. Not because he's going to give us great analytics or a great perspective of the game. In his mind, in his own words, he thought he played okay against the Packers. In his mind. You'll throw on the tape. I did what I did. Really, dog? No sacks? You thought you did your thing? So the name of his show is Take My Micah Away From Me. That's the name of his show. Take the Micah away, I don't know, but it is what it is, man. So there's and my boy Barry Grant just said it right now. Too much entitlement, and that's exactly the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. Because if you think about the brand itself, and Emmitt Smith was on one of these radio shows earlier this week, and excuse me, when asked about that whole playoff debacle, he was like, listen, well, I'll tell you what he said about. He talked about the Dallas Cowboys brand and what it represents and how that shouldn't how it would be played out. But if to be fair to Emmitt Smith, and I love Emmitt Smith, great running back. The Dallas Cowboy brand ain't worth shit in the last 30 something years. Literally, it hasn't. It hasn't. Okay, not since they won their last Super Bowl. It ain't worth nothing. Okay, nothing. So for them to go out and lose that game, I'm not surprised. I was literally at my daughter's soccer game. I had it on my phone, and I was like, "Oh, Packers scored." I was like, "That's game." And the parents around me were like, "Oh, you giving up already?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's done." Because that's how the Cowboys act, and all their players are like that. They have some talented guys. I'm not going to say they're not talented. They're not complete scrubs, but they just don't have that will, that drive, that leadership that they need to go out and win these games. They have no dog in them. They're overpaid. Everyone kisses their ass, and the fan base itself is just so apologetic every year, or just naive to the point that they're like, "Oh yeah, if we go after this guy," it don't matter who comes through those doors. It don't matter, man. So that's why I'm out on them. I'm out. I mean, I'll support them from afar. But people have noticed around that know me, they're like, "Man, what's up? You're not wearing Cowboys gear?" I'm like, "Nah." And that's a problem for me because I wear a lot of Cowboy shit. So I got to go through my wardrobe every day and be like, "Damn, can't wear that shit," even though I like that jacket. Because these bums have pissed me off to the level that I'm just like, to hell with it. F it. I'm really considering changing my son's name, right? His name is Dallas. And now I'm thinking, shit, I might just call him Tex. I don't know, because that's where these fools got me. All right, let's take a look at the comments here. Got a bunch here. What's up, Ben? Ain't seen you in a while, buddy. Hope you're doing all right. He says Zimmer. We're talking about Mike Zimmer. He's talking about Mike Zimmer has always got the best out of his defenses, especially his linebackers that he's coached. Yes, that's an excellent point, I will say. He also follows up and says that if the defense plays better for Cowboys in 2024, then he can be called Zimmer Man. I like the wordplay, brother. I like it. And I know it's a bad pun, but I decided to say, hey, I like it though, man. I like it, man. Lack of leadership on the Cowboys starts at the top with Jera. Yeah, it sure does. I got a feeling you guys are going to get Devin White in free agency. He definitely has that Dallas Cowboy personnel. And just so you know, Ben is a Bucks fan, and he knows Devin White. He knows him because he follows the team. He covers the team. And you know what? We would go get a guy like that, and it'll hit free agency. It'll be a big splash, but we need tough dudes. I'll even podcast from about Barry. He says Mike is that kid that looks at his stats at the end of the game and getting blown. Yes, but you know what, Barry, bro, I'm gonna read one more comment, but I want to get back to your point, Barry. He says, "Hey, Ben says, hey, you can still wear Cowboys gear, just wear a hat and tight Wranglers." I do got some Wranglers. Anyway, back to this comment. Mike is that kid that looks like his stats at the end of the game after getting blown out by. Yes. And you know, guys, if you haven't seen my Coach Clutch stuff, I really want to start getting more into this type of stuff. But this Barry hit on a very exact point. This is the modern athlete from the youth age, right? We've got kids that we'll be in a game getting smoked. I mean, getting our boots blown off, right? Hey, coach, can you send me my clip of my layup, or of that tackle that I pull, or the flag that I pull? Like, why? Oh, so I could post on Instagram. So what? So you can get likes? This is where we are at. Back in my day, man, if you got your ass bust, you are not posting that shit anywhere because you're embarrassed that you got your ass bust. And then the fact that Micah had Jordan Love even on his show, like, that's where we're at. We're interviewing guys that bust our ass. And it's funny because Jordan, when he was asked, like, what was the game plan? Jordan wasn't even trying to talk shit, and he even said it. He's like, I'm not even trying to talk mess, but it's like, basically, y'all soft. He said, we figured we could run the ball on y'all. That's where we're at. These soft ass athletes, bro. Soft. And the Cowboys are soft. I'm talking about softer than the frozen yogurt at your local store. Softer than the Charmin that you use to wipe your ass today. Soft. So I just get so fired up now talking about the Cowboys in the wrong way, right? I can't get with this team no more. But burnt out? Are you serious? Bro, burnt out? You chasing a championship. You better find it. You better find something to motivate you, but they don't care. They don't give a damn. And if I'm the GM of this team, if there was a GM of this team, Demarcus Lawrence, you're out, buddy. Would have traded Park by Micah. Get him off my club because he's a cancer too. And he bringing CD into it too. And I had a lot of respect for CD Lamb too, but I was like, what are we doing, guys? We just look like some biatches. Okay. I don't know if I can say that. So I'm gonna translate biatches talking about our past transgressions. All right. What's up, Yorkie? He says, what do you think about Aaron Jones blocking Parsons? I mean, he did what he needed to do. Micah Parsons, again, it's not that he's a scrub. He's got talent, but he just talked too damn much. Oh, I'm getting held. Okay, guys get held all the time. If you're a that level type of dude, you're going to get double teamed. You're going to get blocked. You're going to get held. It is what it is. You got to fight through that, you know? But this team is missing that DNA of a champion, and that's why they're not going to get – and they've been burnt out, okay? They're burnt. Cowboys have been burnt since 95, 96 at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean, the Packers, could have been schemed. Yeah, I mean, the Packers came in and they had a game plan. They knew to run at Micah because that's what you do. You run at him. You don't run away from him. He's a small lineman. He's a linebacker, right? Right? And then Demarcus Lawrence doesn't get after the quarterback the way he used to. All right, we're paying him like that, but he doesn't do it like that anymore. So yeah, coaching has a lot to do with that. And again, with Dan Quinn's kind of scheme where you got small linebackers, hell yeah. If I see the middle line, if the Mike is a safety playing linebacker and he's 215 pounds, where the hell you think I'm going? Right down the middle until you stop it. And they can't because Mozzie Smith is a bust. The rest of the D line is deplorable. So yeah, scheme has a lot to do with it as well too. So, all right, I digress because I tell you, man, I really get oops, wrong slide. Well, guess y'all know who I'm picking for the game. But anyway, let's talk about the game itself, man. He says he believes Diggs. I don't think so, man, because they came out running the football. They came out running the football. And you got to control the line of scrimmage when you're playing it out. And any level of football. If you protect the quarterback, get after the quarterback, and control the line of scrimmage, you're more likely going to win the game. So I don't think Diggs would have made a big of a difference, to be honest with you. All right, let's talk about the big game itself. Kansas City Chiefs taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Let's talk about how these teams got there. We'll talk about San Francisco. It's been tough sledding, right? A little bit. 2 come from behind wins in back-to-back weeks. Started with Green Bay, a game that they probably should have lost, but they pulled it out, right? Late game heroics with Brock Purdy. And then and again at the next week at home against the Lions. The Lions should have won that game. Lions probably should be in the Super Bowl, but they blew it. It is what it is. And now the San Francisco 49ers are in Super Bowl 58 here in Las Vegas. Now, the Chiefs, on the other hand, had to open up the season at home in the frozen tundra of Arrowhead Stadium against the Miami Dolphins. They got the win. Then they had to go on the road and get 2 impressive wins against a Buffalo team that had been blazing hot, right? Blazing hot. And then they have to go against the excuse me. Sorry, guys. Against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, who was probably the hottest team in the National Football League. The best defense, right? All this. Lamar Jackson can't be stopped. He's going to win the MVP. And they go out and they do their thing and they get the close win. And now that puts them in a position to win another Super Bowl. They've been in 4 Super Bowls in 5 years? That's crazy, man. That's crazy to me. So keys to victory today for the Niners, my estimation is that they cannot get stuck. They got to start out fast. Excuse me. This team is built to be in the front, because of that defense, and they're going to have to run the football. Now, the Chiefs' biggest Achilles heel is the run defense, right? But they did hold the top rushing attack in Baltimore a couple weeks ago to only 81 total 1 yards. So that bodes well for them. This defense has been playing well, but for the San Francisco 49ers, you have to run the football to win this game. You cannot get behind Patrick Mahomes and expect to come from behind. Not today. Oh, and I didn't change the graphic. It says conference preview. Sorry about that. But listen, you cannot do that today. This is not the game to do that. And if the Niners have any chance of winning this game, they're going to have to play from the front. Because if you play with fire the way they've been playing with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, this is not the crew that you want to do that with. Because I'm pretty sure Patrick Mahomes will put this team away, unlike the other teams. And Andy Reid is smart enough to kick field goals if he needs to, unlike Dan Campbell. Okay, so the keys to victory for San Francisco, if they're going to win this game, is play from the front early, lean on that defense, and run the football effectively. And there you have it. Maybe they'll be hoisting the trophy at the end of the game later on this afternoon or evening here in Super Bowl 58. Now, keys to victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's pretty simple. This team has been driven by their defense. Their defense needs to come out and play lights out like the way they have. Now, it's going to be a hard task, right? Because San Francisco has a lot of weapons. But one thing I will say is that the cornerbacks can match up well with San Francisco. The problem is going to be in the trenches. Can the Chiefs defense continue to slow up the run? We're going to find that out very early. Now, if they're able to do that and give Patrick Mahomes time, he's been in the big game. Travis Kelce's got an extra motivation, right? Because a lot of us, including myself, have said, man, what happened to him? He's falling off. But in the playoffs, he's been balling out. His girl's coming in. She flew in from Tokyo last night. We'll be in attendance. And at the end of the day, I'm not going against the Swifties, right? So that's part of it too. So, keys to victory for them, stop the run. If you stop the run, they'll be all right. I think that's it. Because I think they match up well enough. They got guys that can cover Kittle. They got guys that can get on Debo. They got guys that can cover Brandon Ayuk. So I think that might be a little bit overblown with the talent that they have. But trust me, Kansas City Chiefs defense is legit. And they're young. Okay. Yorkie asks, sorry guys, I'm just losing my wind here. Let me get some water real quick. He asked, can the Kansas City run the ball like the line? They absolutely can. And it's another thing with the Cowboys. They don't run the football. And I'm not saying you got to go out and run for 125 yards to win the game. You just have to be effective at it. Because it represents him having a balanced attack. And I love the way Isaiah Pacheco runs. If you don't know his story, go read it. It's phenomenal, man. I support this guy. I champion this guy. He's not Christian McCaffrey. Of course not. Right? But the guy runs hard. So I believe they do have a chance to run the football. Okay? If the Packers and the Lions were able to, then I'm telling you, the Niners are not playing their best football. And I think that's why I'm going to give the edge to, no surprise here, Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not going against Patrick Mahomes, number one. Okay? I'm just not. This is another big-time game for Kyle Shanahan, and we all seen him how he folds sometimes in big-time games, right? We'll see, right? Brock Purdy, although he's had a great season, I just don't, I'm not picking Patrick Mahomes to lose to Brock Purdy. And if he does, so be it. But I'm not. I'm just not. Patrick Mahomes is that guy, right? Not having Tyreek Hill again and underwhelming list of wide receivers, and they're still in the damn Super Bowl, man. Why? Because they have the will to win. The will to win. Imagine if Patrick Mahomes had a CeeDee Lamb. How good this team would be. Even more better, right? But he don't. You got Marquez Scanlon, whatever the guy's name is, right? Now, the Rashee Rice kid he's been coming on a little bit, right? I will say that, but I just like the will of this team. I really like the will of this team. And Patrick Mahomes is that driving factor. That's a leader right there. That's a leader. So the Niners, to me, they've been playing with fire the last 2 weeks, or their last two games, and today is not the day to get behind. So, but again, if they can get out in front, they can lean on that defense. But if not, if they come into this game and they rest on their laurels, thinking bang bang Niner gang, sorry, you're gonna lose to Mahomes and the Swifties. And fun fact, and probably some of you guys have seen this already. So many things surrounding Taylor Swift and the number 13. Okay. The flight from Tokyo to LA, 13 hours. She's been to 12 Chiefs games. Today will be the 13th game. Okay. What was the other thing that I saw? Today's date, February 11th. 2 plus 11 is what? 13. San Francisco is the 1 seed. Kansas City Chiefs are the what? 3 seed. Crazy. Super Bowl 58. What's 5 plus 8? 13. So I'm not going against Taylor Swift and her man today. I think they're going to be out in force, and the aura of the Chiefs and the Swifties will overcome the San Francisco 49ers. And I would have never thought on an NFL show I would be considering or factoring in Taylor Swift's influence into a pick. Oh, is April 49? And your Yorkie says 4 plus 9 is 13, but I'm still going with the Chiefs. Sorry, Yorkie. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, there you have it, man. I'm sorry, I'm like losing my lungs over here. But that's all I got for today, man. I hope you guys really enjoyed the show. Thanks for everybody for chiming in. Excuse me, and watching the show. As you can tell, I'm out of air. I'm out of gas. So we'll see what's going on. Probably might be off next week for sure. We'll see. Maybe have some reactions to the game, something like that. Maybe posted during the week. But definitely, man, it was a great season. Hey, listen, my clutch picks, I finished over 500, so that's kind of cool. I actually kept track of it this year, but we appreciate everybody, man. It's been a long season, and I'm burnt out. Get the hell out of here, Demarcus. And I'm not burnt out, man. We trying to do this thing. So appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys head over to YouTube, subscribe, share the content, man. You guys know what it is. This is your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, in the house. Like I always say to close out my show. This is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. See you guys later. Peace.